Hello and welcome back to Talon 101. This time, this is going to be the series of Okizeme, like when you end combos and what options you're getting as the opponent is waking up or if they stay on the floor. For this video, we're going to be talking about Flashing Trident Okizeme. That's right. There's already a video about this move, link in the description below. But there is no video about how useful it's been in combos. And boy, does it do something differently now. So, again, as you do Okizeme, you gotta separate it from ground techniques and wake up. And to make your testing on the dot, you wanna turn off one and then leave one on. So we're gonna start with ground techniques, which include the tech rolls and the back roll and the quick recovery, wherein you just kind of hold forward. We're gonna go with the classic option first, which is basically a forward 3+4 by itself. So if you've played some Tekken 7 or even Tag 2, the options I'm about to showcase are very familiar to you. In fact, if you watch the Tekken 7 version of this, you'll just be like, oh, so nothing changed. Yeah, kind of. Let's start it off right now. But the one thing that did change though is that Hwoarang can do this. That's right. You do dash forward 3+4 into RFF F+3, and next thing you know, your opponent's waking up to a +1 homing move that just reaches from a mile away. And if they so happen to press a button as they get up, well, there's no escaping it. This option, for the most part, does not lose to anything. You heard that right. This option, for the most part, kind of just doesn't lose to anything. Well, yeah, it lost there, but that matters on the timing and how you do your forward 3+4 into RFF F+3. There is a specific timing that does beat it. And if you follow that timing on top of all the other timings for all the other options, you'll be fine. So just perfect that for the most part and don't have varied timings, or else you will lose to another option here and there. But for the most part, you should be catching pretty much everything and putting your opponent in this situation, or gaining access to heat, and you know, they're just like, goddamn, you know? Gotta deal with Hwoarang when heat is active. Now we're going to stand-up options right now. As you can see, it's not losing to anything. It just isn't. Now Hwoarang didn't have access to this in Tekken 7. And well, I mean, you kind of could do it with his old RFF F+3, but you weren't in front of their face, you were far away. So you were like really doing a really long check from a far away. Now you're just like straight up in their face, right? Different story. So instead of waiting for a whiff, you're forcing a reaction out of them. Because in the old one, when you do RFF F+3, see, look, even the side roll. Why does it hit that low? Why does it hit like, I don't know, blessed. Hwoarang be blessed, he be privileged to have a homing heat engager that hits that low. We'll take it. Please don't nerf. Please don't nerf. And of course, if I had heat active, that's a heat engager right now against the wake up mid kick. We're now swapping it to wake up low. Bam, bada bam. Okay, error. Again, make sure your execution is clean, or else you'll get the RFF bug, wherein you get LFF F+3, and that's not the move you want to get. Then again, wake up lows will not counter hit launch you anymore. So I mean, it's fine even if you get it, I suppose, because you're only giving up 7 frames of advantage to your opponent. Clean. See that? Everything here in wake up loses. Everything here in ground technique loses. That's how good forward 3+4 into RFF F+3 is after a single or even double flashing trident. Let's try to do 2 here. Oh well, fine, not double, single. You may want to lab it if you want to do 2 flashing tridents. This video will only cover 1 flashing trident. So moving on to the next, this is another classic, and we're gonna go back to ground technique just again to showcase how the options are. And I'm gonna do a specific one. Of course, since you are accessing left flamingo, you can always change your option depending on what the opponent is doing. But for the sake of this video, so that we don't go through too many options that you're allowed to do, we're just gonna do LFS F+3, and it's like as so. like that. Now you'd be thinking, wait a minute, I should have time to press a button there, right? It looks like I have time. Sure, it does kind of look like you have time. So let's do it. So it's recorded right over here. Hwoarang's gonna do it. I'm gonna try like mash into while standing 4, right? Oh, that wasn't while standing 4. That was wake up 4. Yes, that option would win. We'll get to that eventually. No, I died. Hwoarang gets a heat engager. Of course, we didn't cover that for RFF F+3, but do the same if you do a wake up. If you do a while standing 4 as you tech. It didn't even come out. I wasn't even allowed to like bring in. Yeah, for the most part, you're not winning there. So it's that good. Like Hwoarang still has a lot of frame advantage at his disposal. So that's again tech roll left. We're not gonna move to tech roll right. 1, 2. Again, the classic Oki that Hwoarang has always had for the longest time. Wherein you're stance switching. And yes, you will lose here if you're using LFS F+3. But one adjustment will instantly make Hwoarang win here. Like so. Now we go to back quick roll. Again, we're gonna stick with LFS F+3 again. And it's just like, it's a bit far. It's like, is it supposed to lose there? No. Now, according to my notepad, at least, it shouldn't lose to that. Which means only one thing. You can do something else. Or you can have a bigger dash, and you're gonna be closer to them. So then again, I did do a DF3 forward there, so let's not do a DF3 forward. And have that bigger dash, and voila. But yes, that finishes all the ground techniques. And you only have to really adjust twice. Although I believe you probably only have to adjust once. It's just like, get the timing on that dash for the back quick roll and then apply it to like pretty much the other 2 tech rolls, and you'll be fine. And for the quick recovery, again, you just power crush when that appears, right? So if they do stand up, bum. Yeah, they're waking up into that. Now it's just like, oh, I think there's frames. No. There's none. There's none. We can do that again. So we can copy the exact same thing. We're gonna stand up. I'm gonna mash 1, right? No, I'm dead. Okay, stop thinking it. There is none. Your opponent has to eat this mix-up. That's just what it is. They ain't doing nothing to it. And like, even if a power crush wins, right? Your answer would just simply be do down 3-4, F2+3, or LFS down 4. And now we're gonna do it against wake up backwards. Now we're gonna move to front roll. 1, 2. Now these are the options that my notepad does say it should lose to. So just to show you LFS F+3 right here, right afterwards. But then again, you're still at an advantage as Hwoarang here. You're not at a disadvantage. And of course, if we just tweak it so that Hwoarang wins here, that's 1 combat low away, and well, they're going to get hit. Same thing here if we change that to side roll right. Hwoarang only had to like basically swap to a second option. You didn't have to do another option. You're free to do another option if you like. But this is like keeping it as simple as possible. Now we're gonna go to wake up mid kick. Now you will lose 2 wake up mid kicks here if you're doing LFS F+3. So adjustments are needed at this point. And the first adjustment we'll call back is our trusty power crush. And then wake up low. Naturally, the mid would lose there. And the power crush would lose as well. So let's call a low crushing mid. Same thing will apply for a recovery kick. So for as long as you have the lead against your opponent, they see this stance switch, and they're like, okay, I don't want to wake up to it because I'm never having frame advantage there. So I'm going to challenge him, force them to go for a 50-50. Well, I mean, if they're going to go to a 50-50, why not? Tekken 8's like a casino, ain't it? Just indulge them because the house always wins. That finishes RFF F+3, whiffing RFF F+3 into left flamingo options. Let's go to the last option that you typically would do after a 4-3+4 in a combo. And that is the classic dash down back 4. So finish a combo, dash down back 4, and you're thinking again, I must have some frame advantage here, right? Right, Frontier? Come on, I must have some frame advantage here. I'm watching your videos so that I have anti-knowledge about Hwoarang. I'm sorry, you will not have frame advantage here. So again, Hwoarang's gonna do the combo. I'm gonna mash until while standing 4. Now, I didn't have that recorded into right parabellum kicks, but the moment I do add right parabellum kicks, well, it's game over. And if you notice, the while standing 4 did not register as a punish after down back 4 even with. So you never had frame advantage to begin with. You died. Yep, it is what it is. Hwoarang's Okizeme is forever good. I mean, it's a key feature for the Blood Talon. Right, dash down back 4. And you really just gotta throw out RFF F4. RFF F4 for Hwoarang would probably be the safest option you could throw out after they tech. But if they are going to commit to a duck or they're gonna down jab, then at which point, now since you do have moves like RFS up forward 3 and RFS 3 slide 4, then that's when you use them in that scenario. Or even RFS back 4. And of course, you gotta do that like basically like if they're gonna challenge you for RFF forward 3 to any LFS option, wherein they're gonna do like wake up kicks, you're pretty much gonna have to like play that 50-50 gameplay every single time. But that's if the opponent wants to like, what do you call this? Go for that kind of gameplay. There you go, punish. Now back quick roll. Of course, I was punished with the right flamingo option. It wasn't like floating them back with down back 4. And that finishes a round technique. We're gonna go to wake up. Again, dash down back 4. This is definitely one of my favorite options to run. Very, very safe. And you just can't go wrong with it. And of course, you're gonna be pairing it up with F3+4 into RFF DF3 and RFF forward 3 into left flamingo options, so you know it's just tough for your opponent to guess. And if I were the opponent in this situation, I'd always tech. And if they're always gonna tech, well, that means they're either meeting a +1 low on block, a +1 mid on block, or potentially a +4 mid on block. And of course, that situation can vary depending on what other follow-up Hwoarang wants to do in those situations. Now, of course, you will not get the counter hit launch and the wake up kicks if you do your down back 4 immediately. You'd have to delay your timing. But of course, if you're unsure on how the opponent's reacting, you wouldn't want to vary your timing as much. So while it's a shame while you can't get a counter hit launch, you'll take that. But here, as you can see, you get a float if they do a recovery kick. Aha! It's just like, thank you very much. I'll be on my way. Full combo. And that's extra damage. It's like, wow, you took more than like 50% of their health. And that's what dash down back 4 can like offer you. Same thing with spring kick. But yeah, those are like the 3 classic options you pretty much did in Tekken 7. I guess minus the new RFF DF3, right? Because if you did do that in Tekken 7, you were getting you were basically getting this move. And you were hoping that they whiffed something. They would like attempt to challenge after blocking it, which some opponents did and some opponents didn't. So it's either you return back to neutral or you get a whiff punish for the most part. And you did see I did get a lot of like LFF DF3 there. So again, make sure your execution is up to par. Now the new thing that this Okizeme has, right, or a forward 3+4 Okizeme has, is the fact that it can enter flamingo, right? So like if you end the combo with a forward 3+4 forward, and you have more options to run with. I guess I should just do the regular B&B. There you go, regular B&B. And then we're gonna end with a forward 3+4. Ah, that's brand new, ain't it? Now you're thinking again, that looks like I could challenge it. Sure. It's the illusion that you can challenge Hwoarang in that scenario. Again, we're gonna tech roll. We're gonna do the basic option again, just the while standing 4. The while standing 4 doesn't even activate. So yeah, no, you cannot. Which means if one of your buttons does succeed, you're probably going to get hit. Probably not the power crush, but again, if you do the power crush, all the Hwoarang's gonna do is just LFS 1 into like down back 4-4 or down 4-4 or a grab. Of course, that's what you're supposed to do as a Hwoarang, right? Again, we're gonna go through all the options, ground technique, and wake up. And we're starting with tech roll left first. According to the notes, this does lose to about 3 options. But of course, if it loses to 3 options, it always has backups to help it out. As the first time I showed a 4-3+4, there were 3 options. So for, of course, a 4-3+4 forward, there are going to be 3 options as well. And do not waste any time. You whiff LFS 1, and like so, they're in a +6 scenario. Of course, yes, there's a lot of pushback, but thanks to the new RFF F+3, well, that situation changes a ton. So like, it wouldn't really matter on which way you end Flashing Trident. Just like you have to recognize on how you end it. So this is quick back roll. So yeah, depending on the timing of your FF3 after LFS 1, you could lose or win. But if you slap a specific timing, right? Well, you'll catch back quick roll. Because I added a dash there. While in the earlier ones, there was no dash at all. And that could potentially affect the timing on like whether they could challenge you or not. So do lab that out. Now I move to wake up. So your first instinct is to like throw out RFF F+3, right? Right after they block this. And then keep them in that kind of mix-up. And then the rest follows. You can do like down 4-4. You can do Peacekeeper. You can use movement. Like, the floor is yours. Now we move into front roll. Yep, still hitting. Now we're going to side roll left. There we go. That's when we start losing. Now, of course, that is on regular timing, so let's do it with the added dash before FF3 to see if that makes any difference. And no, it does not make any difference. So yes, if the opponent does side roll towards the left, then they are avoiding your FF3. However, does that work if they do side roll right? Okay, whiff it. Okay, so it's only side roll left for the most part that will avoid FF3. So it's a very specific option they gotta do to avoid it. Now we're gonna go straight to wake up kicks. So this is wake up mid kick. You whiff it. And that's probably the best +6 situation you could ever have in your life. Now we're gonna go to wake up low. Again, fantastic. An ignition barrage that they cannot sidestep anymore at +6. Basically homing at that point, at that frame advantage. Now, recovery kick does come out pretty fast, so I guess you give it to them if they do a recovery kick, right? It's like, okay, you can have that. If they do a spring kick, they're coming back to the floor. That's a decent trade. You'll take that. So for the most part, you lose to like 2 options. Well, 3 if you include back quick roll, depending on like your timing. If you add like a dash into FS3, so if you don't do dash FS3, you'll lose it to 3 options. But if you do add dash FS3, theoretically speaking, on paper, you're probably only losing to 2, but it could increase. Now we're gonna return back to ground technique, and the next option that you can do if you end the combo on a 4-3+4 forward is to, of course, do another frame kill. And do... Oh, we're basically just mirroring, right? What we did in a 4-3+4. So instead of doing a dash RFF forward 3 into LFS options, we're basically maximizing the fact that you're already in left. So you're gonna do this is basically your RFF forward 3, and then you're doing LFS options. So it's just like, oh, it probably loses to the same options, right, Frontier? That's not what my notepad says, and we'll get to it slowly but surely. So that's against tech roll left right now. Right here, we're gonna go against tech roll right. And wow, as you can see, you lose. But of course, right, you're in Flamingo. You got a multitude of options. No, I wouldn't say a multitude. A specific amount of options to work this around. So you can catch that, no problem. You don't even have to do LFS F4. You could have done LFS back 4-3, LFS DF3, because that was towards the right. So yeah, you'll be fine in that scenario. Whiff it again. We beat quick recovery. Now we're going to back quick roll. Whiff it. And you can almost get a heat engager. Now we're moving to stand up. Now is there like a difference? Of course there is. You already lost the tech roll, right? That's not what Dash RFF F+3 into LFS lost to, for as long as you do a 4-3+4 by itself. A slight difference, maybe because of the frames it takes to transition to left Flamingo. There you go, side rolls, you'll lose to. But of course, again, that is if you're doing LFS 4-3, just like before. All you gotta do is one simple change, and side rolls are not safe. The opponent will still get hit and still get trapped by Hwoarang there. Alright, moving on to wake up kicks. Yep, that's a free heat engager again. Massive frame advantage there. Opponent cannot press a button. Damn. The recovery kick. Alright, so again, they get the toe kick, but then of course, if you know and you have the read, I mean, let it go and take your full combo. Spring attack. Last option on Oki for this particular option, and you win. So yeah, that's like the pseudo version of like after a 4-3+4 dash RFF 4-3. Slightly weaker because it loses to a little bit more options. Of course, just do an adjustment here and there, and it almost looks the same. Now, the last option I'm about to show you is probably basically the same thing. It's just like, oh, we're doing another option. We're whiffing another option to enter to remain in left Flamingo, right? Yeah. So this is against tech roll. But of course, your opponent can block this option. It shouldn't have whiffed there. There you go. So, I mean, you're going -12, which is fine for the most part. So, depending on which character you're playing. So, if you're not playing against Lydia, at least you're not entering your opponent's not getting a heat engager immediately. Lydia, Leo, right? Because FCDF2, while standing 4, 1+2. Oh, that's a float combo, by the way. And that's only possible because down back 4 or LFS down 4 no longer spikes the opponent to the floor. It is an Oki option that will be missed. There you go. So it does lose to back quick roll, it seems. Although my notepad is telling me that it shouldn't lose to that, which means there's a specific timing that you must follow. There you go, just like that, so that you don't lose to it. Now we're gonna move on to wake up. And I'm gonna try to follow that specific timing. There you go. Like, I'm just gonna basically allow the last 2 hits of Flashing Trident to connect, and then I'll cancel into LFS DF3 forward. Oh, wake up backward wins here. Again, the notepad does not say that, which means it is false. There you go, like so. Front roll. Of course, again, this is specifically a combat low or an LFS down 4 option. Again, you can tweak it if you want to like use other options, but this can be like your go-to for the most part. Or you can turn it in your go-to for LFS 3 forward and then do combat low. Again, beating a lot of options right here. I believe this should counter hit against a wake up mid kick. Yeah, and then you get a lot of damage depending on like how they wake up, because that was supposed to be another FF3. I just got the error of LFS forward. Not LFS. LFF forward 3, or like the manual transition in left foot forward. There you go. That's how it should look like. That's crazy. You do get a full combo and then you get all of that. Oh. That's of course if the opponent's waking up wrong. If they're not, well, you'll still get a good chunk of damage. The Okizeme list does not have the answer. It said timing for tech rolls. There you go. I was faster there, so that's a trade. Which means I guess you can go a little bit faster to potentially not lose to it. Then we'll skip that now and go over the spring kick. And this is the one option you should lose to. Let me double check again with the list. No, yeah, it does say spring attack, but I did just beat spring attack right over there. So I guess if you're following the timing I was using here right now, you will lose to recovery kick, but not spring attack. But there you go. I lost the spring attack right there. So watch your timing. Very, very important. And of course, if you get that kind of float, that's a down back 4 follow-up. You already know. So basically, those 3 options right after up forward 3+4 forward, pretty much all focus on like whiffing a move, and then either doing your move in LFF or doing pretty much any left flamingo option. Now, the last thing you can do that's pretty neat, right, as I showed at the start of this video, is to enter right flamingo. So you enter right flamingo like so, and then do RFF F+3. Now, that looks like you have way more time, right? It's like there's no way, Frontier. At this point, Hwoarang should be able to get hit, right? Like somebody should be able to hit Hwoarang already. Fair. Let's change it and see if you can indeed hit Hwoarang after Tekken. Why Tekken? Because Tekken is the most common option. And no, you cannot. The only way you'll be able to hit Hwoarang out of this is that if you hold back or hold up, basically if you wake up backwards or stand up, and you power crush. I mean, you have to power crush. And that was mentioned earlier for like other options. But of course, if you do power crush, all the Hwoarang's gonna do is just basically down 4-4. And I was already mashing jab there, it wouldn't work. So Hwoarang does have frame advantage again once more in this scenario. It's just like, goddamn, this guy doesn't really lose to anything, huh? No, he does. And we'll get to it one by one. So now we're gonna move to tech roll, right? So depending on like how you want to do your Okizeme, you do have that leeway to do it in left foot forward, left flamingo, or right flamingo. Or well, technically you're ending in right foot forward, right? But then you're going through it from right flamingo, so yeah. There you go, you're still hitting. So now this is where you should start losing. Back, quick roll. And like so. It's just like, wait, but you said he's supposed to lose there. Yes, because if the opponent does wake up into a backdash after back quick roll, at which point Hwoarang does have his black kite whiff. So it's like, okay, what do I pair up RFF F+3 after RFS 2 mainly to like enter RFF so that it doesn't lose there? Well, FF4. Why not? So now you're going basically with the RFF F3 and FF4 mix-up for the most part. So that basically finishes all of ground technique again. Now we're gonna go to Wake Up. So here you go against Wake Up. So as you saw earlier, again, right, the Power Crush would win there. But any other option pretty much would lose. And of course, if you do the Power Crush, I did say down 4-4, but there is a better option. And that is basically to do dash down back 4. A favorite here of the cheese, and that would kill pretty much the Power Crush and would be pretty safe against a lot of options as well. You're basically supposed to stand switch into RFS 2 and dash down back 4. Like so. Now we're moving on to the front row. We're gonna go back to going to Black Kite or RFF F+3. And wow, this will avoid Black Kite. And you're probably gonna be in a pickle here. So it's just like, okay, do the options you pair this up with eat that? I mean, yeah. Why else are they their partner in crime? Like so. That beats that out. And then if we change this to Peacekeeper, That also beats that out. So now we're gonna move over to side rolls. And Black Kite should also lose here. So at that point, you want to win in this situation. Well, dash down back 4 again. To like beat both side rolls. Now we're against the wake up kicks. And here, Hwoarang does lack a lot of frame advantage. Why? Because he's, doing a really slow move and eating up a lot of frames compared to like when he's doing a frame kill in left flamingo or in left foot forward. So at which point you may need to ask the help of a power crush to beat the wake up kicks, because none of the options like dash down back 4 would win here. Neither would FF4 as well. Just to demonstrate. So if you're gonna default to this kind of Oki, or like you're trying to do right foot forward or right flamingo Oki, it's a lot tougher to like fully maximize against your opponent instead of just ending on left foot forward or left flamingo stance. But yeah, just to go back to beating wake up kick, backlash is not the power crush you should be asking for some help. It's RFF UF3+3 into 4. And of course, if they do a wake up low, well, then you just do a low crush. And of course, these are going to be hard reads at these points because you have lesser frames to work with. But it would be pretty hype, or not would, will always be pretty hype if you have the read against your opponent in those situations. So up 4 right there. I mean, it whiffed. But there you go, full punish if you do up 4 T+4 right after that. And for spring kick, again, just to show that RFF F+3 will not win there. Again, you're going to be doing a different move. And mainly for spring kick, you could just still do the power crush. Like so. But yeah, that's like a lot of options Hwoarang's allowed to do. And your opponent has to like recognize that immediately, right? So like they're in the air, they're getting comboed, right? And they're waiting for like whatever ender you're about to do. So are you ending it on like... are you ending your flashy trident on left foot forward and going for like the good old classic Oki options from like Tag 2 or Tekken 7? Of course, with like a touch of like Tekken 8, right? Or are you doing some real Tekken 8 stuff and ending up in RFF to do RFF things? Like this Oki is just really good. And these options I just showcased only scratch the surface. They're like probably the more reliable options for the most part, but Okizeme is very open. It's as far as your imagination can take it and fully dependent, naturally, on like how your opponent's reacting. So like if they're staying on the floor, does it cover this option? Does it cover this option? Because if I were the opponent, this is pretty tough to like cover. Because I don't know whether you entered Flamingo or not. And then even if you did I lab everything that you're about to do? So the good part about this for Hwoarang is that he has an Oki option pretty much for every wake-up option the opponent can do. And if they're allowed to press a button after they wake up, whether that be standing up, quick back roll, wake up backwards, or even like through tech rolls. So yeah, that's just the first of many Okizeme videos, or for the Okizeme series. Again, I've been Frontier. That's been the lesson for today. I'll see you in the next one.